Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal Algérie. I'm your host, Maysa Doumaz. To the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, chaired a meeting of the Council of Ministers devoted to the examination of several draft bills. The Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Lieutenant General Saeed Shangriha, supervises the final destination or demonstration training in the 1st Military Region. Al-Jaish magazine returns with the latest challenges facing Algeria to undermine the stability and the security of the country. And the province of Galma commemorated the 77th anniversary of the massacres of May 8, 1945. And we end our news edition from one of the biggest iron deposits in the world, located in Tindouf province. Those were today's headlines. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, Abdelmajid Tebboune, chaired on Sunday a meeting of the Council of Ministers. After the opening session by the President of the Republic and listening to the presentation of the Prime Minister, the head of state gave the following instructions regarding the new investment bill, assigning the government to continue enshrining the project given importance, and it will be presented at a special meeting of the Council of Ministers on Thursday, May 19, 2022. Concerning a draft law related to the conditions for conducting commercial activities, reconsidering the draft bill to encourage economic cooperations, reviewing the list of materials and goods prohibited from importing. Regarding the file of the new provinces, the President stressed that this bill aims to reduce the burden on citizens and will bring the administration closer to them, continue the process of human resources and creating job opportunities while giving the priority to the province residents. Concerning the iron deposit in Garaj Bilat, the implementation of this project within a specific timeline, reducing dependence on importing raw materials, creating new job opportunities, and accelerating the launch of the railway line linking the province of Tindouf to Bishar. Regarding the lifting of obstacles on suspended projects, a draft bill was presented that showcases the lifting from 861 projects and the creation of 820 jobs, allowing Air Algérie to purchase 15 aircrafts and acquiring ships to transport passengers, goods and grains. The approval of the new flights program for the company Air Algérie in anticipation of the summer season. Before concluding the session, the Council of Ministers approved individual decisions, which included appointment and termination of tasks for senior positions in the state. The Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, Lieutenant General Saeed Shangriha, supervised on Sunday at the level of the 1st Military Region the final air demonstration training as part of the festivities of the celebration of the 60th anniversary of independence and the execution of a sports parachute jumping exercise performed by the National Military Team by both women and men specialized in this field. Manal Ammari has the details.
At the beginning and at the end of the presentation made by the Commander of the Air Forces, addressing the general idea of the air display, the Chief of Staff of the National People's Army inspected the participating air formations. before following the display's final training, during which our pilots achieved real feats. Through their high precision, strict respect for distances, and perfect coordination between different types of planes, while realizing aerial figures, showing great skills and ability to master modern aircrafts with advanced technologies.
تتطلب هذه العملية درجة عالية من الكفاءة والتنسيق. باحترام المسافات والارتفاعات المحددة يتقدم ضمن تشكيل وحوامتان حجريتان موجهتان إلى إنذار القوات بدراسة 109 يختتم النسق الثاني للاستعراض بتشكيل زوجي بمربحلتين تابعتين تشكيل الجو والموجهة لتدمير الأهداف الثابتة والمتحركة.
Accompanied by the respective commanders of the air forces of the 1st Military Region, the Lieutenant General closely followed the course of the exercise, which was attended by female students and cadets from the Military Academy of Sharshal and the Nation Cadet School of Blida in the 1st Military Region. This exercise featured various demonstrations, including, among others, a tactical leap executed by the Women's National Military Parachute Team, a joint sport jump with both women and men, a precision jump, and a demonstration of parachute folding. Demonstrations that were performed with professionalism and high-level coordination, rightfully reflecting this team's quality of preparation and training.
الرقيب الأول حيمون أمنة المرتبة الأولى حسب الفرق
More on the meeting with the crew members who performed this sports parachute jumping exercise with Leticia Setqawi.
At the end of the exercise, the Lieutenant General Said Shangriha, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, held a meeting with the crew members who took part in this aerial demonstration, as well as the members of the National Military Parachute Jump Crew, and expressed his satisfaction with the level of preparation achieved before praising the professionalism shown by our pilots during the execution of the final training of the aerial demonstration. Regarding the aerial demonstration, the Lieutenant General saluted and highlighted the high professionalism of our pilots, who have demonstrated perfect precision, rigorous respect for distances, and total coordination between the various types of aircraft. During the realization of aerial figures, which indicates their high skills and ability to master modern aircrafts with advanced technologies.
وقدراتهم الفائقة في التحكم في الطائرات الحديثة ذات التكنولوجيا المتقدمة.
The Lieutenant General also expressed his appreciation and unwavering support for the women working in the ranks of the National People's Army, for her dedicated efforts in the various fields of the profession of arms, before congratulating the female athletes and their technical staff for the total success of the exercise, which is the result of the special interest given by the High Command of the National People's Army to women working within the military institution.
وبهذه المناسبة أود أن أهنئ كل الرياضيات. The
Lieutenant General congratulated all the athletes and through them the technical staff and the managers for the total success of this exercise, before adding that it is the fruit of the particular interest given by the High Command of the National People's Army to women exercising within the military institution, aimed at enshrining the principle of equality between its personnel, men and women, both in terms of rights and duties, and to consolidate the gains guaranteed to women under the latest amendment to the Constitution initiated by the President of the Republic, Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, and approved by the Algerian people during the referendum of November 1st, 2020.
Al-Jaish magazine returns with the latest challenges facing Algeria and the attempts to undermine the stability and security of the country, especially through social networks. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
In its latest edition, the army magazine Al-Jaish, entitled The Battle of Consciousness, certainly the hardest battle. The editorial recalls the various challenges with which Algeria is currently confronted and which it will have to take up in the future, thanks to the wise orientations of the President of the Republic, the Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense, implemented by the High Command of the National People's Army. According to Al-Jaish, the plotters who threaten the security and stability of our country, in particular through the malicious exploitation of social networks to cause division between the citizens and influence the national public opinion by giving false information that undermines national security and unity. This latter has been qualified by Lieutenant General Said Shengriha, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army, as serious fact, threatening public peace and social order, attempts that performers justify it as freedom of expression, but in reality are plots aimed at attacking the territorial integrity and the unity of the Algerian people. The real battle that our young people must win today is that of consciousness, also affirmed the Lieutenant General, Chief of Staff of the National People's Army. It is in this sense that Al-Jaish magazine reminds young people to be aware of the challenges in order to preserve the legacies of our glorious martyrs. On the occasion of the celebration of the National Day of Memory, which immortalizes the enormous sacrifices of our elders, the country of Shuhada will remain faithful to its principles and its doctrine, whatever the cost. Concludes Al-Jaish in its editorial, which recalls once again that Algeria will succeed in crossing this sensitive phase to continue the development process and materialize the aspirations of the Algerian people in their new Algeria, whose milestones were led by the President of the Republic.
The province of Galma commemorated the 77th anniversary of the massacres of May 8, 1945. Nearly 45,000 martyrs fell in the field of honor, namely in the province of Sétif, Galma and Kharrata. Meetings, conferences and sporting events took place to remind people of our history. The National Memory Day was also marked in several regions of the country. Algerians across the national territory commemorated the massacres of May 8, 1945 through different activities such as historical forums, sports and cultural activities to consolidate and preserve the memory. Our consulates in many countries around the world organized celebrations to commemorate May 8th in the presence of our national community abroad, renewing their strong links with the motherland during various national occasions. The Mujahid or war veteran Ammar Ammar, who participated in the Second World War, gave a testimony to the Algerian television, a testimony that will remain engraved in the history. More details with Najah Tayyar.
Al-Mujahid Al-Haj Ammar Ammar passed away 4 years ago, but before his disappearance, the Algerian national TV had immortalized his testimony. He was prepared for the war against the Nazis in Alsace-Lorraine. He was one of the first Algerian young men trained by the colonial army in the Second World War with high hopes for the French colonists' promise of liberating Algeria. I was mobilized by the French army and injured in the confrontations against the German armies. We freed Alsace-Lorraine in the French territory and even arrived to Germany. Berlin was liberated by the Algerians, Russians and Americans. Against their will, Algerians were at the front lines in the French armies, combating the Nazi Germany, forced to be in the storm's eye to defend the liberty of France and its alliance in the Second World War, looking for Algeria's freedom as well. France gave us their word and ensured our independence if we win in their war against Germany. But in the end, after achieving their goal, they showed us the unexpected worst answer we could get when claiming our independence. Thanks to our liberating fights, we succeeded in chasing France out of our lands and winning our freedom. While the French and their allies were celebrating the victory over the Nazi Germany that puts an end to the Second World War, tens of thousands of Algerians went out streets of Sétif, Galma and Kharrata demanding their independence promised if France ends up the victorious. France eventually didn't honor its word and instead it turned up a huge brutal massacre of 45,000 disarmed Algerians.
The Algerian National Radio gifted the Ministry of Mujahideen with hours of recording dedicated to commemorate the 77th anniversary of the massacres of May 8th. More details with Rania Al-Bahri.
As part of the festivities commemorating the massacres of May 8th, 1945, the Algerian radio gave the Ministry of Mujahideen a symbolic gift in the form of original recordings dating from the National Liberation War.
بالشبابنا نرسخ في ذهنه تاريخ الجزائر والذاكرة.
We take this opportunity to anchor the history of Algeria and its glorious war in the minds of youth and future generations, and so that the sacrifice of our brave martyrs be a source of inspiration. We will deploy more efforts for the preservation of history, which is a source of pride for all of us.
توجيهات السيد رئيس الجمهورية التي وجهها في مناسبات سابقة إلى كل.
The efforts made are part of the directives from the President of the Republic given on various occasions, calling on all private and public sectors active in the field of history to multiply efforts for the preservation of memory and perpetuate the history of Algeria through audiovisual productions. After having played an important role during the War of the National Liberation, the National Radio shows once again its mobilization through this lofty initiative.
الإذاعة الجزائرية تحت عناية وزارة المجاهدين.
For the first time, the national radio, under the patronage of the Ministry of Mujahideen, has produced no less than 687 CDs containing 928 hours, 43 minutes and 19 seconds of testimonies of the glorious revolution collected from all regions of Algeria. These recordings will allow researchers and historians to access to a material of scientific and historical value and will contribute to safeguarding the collective memory.
The Energy and Mines Minister Mohamed Arqab received on Sunday in Algiers a delegation from the company China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation. Mohamed Arqab discussed with its managing director the participation of this company in building the railway and public works to exploit iron from Garaj Bilat. The two parties reviewed bilateral relations between China and Algeria, especially in the energy field. The Garaj Bilat iron deposit in the province of Tindouf is one of the largest deposits in the world. Following the instructions of the President of the Republic, the exploitation process began and is expected to bring many economic benefits. Leticia Sidqawi tells us more.
With iron reserves estimated at 3.5 billion tons, including 1.7 billion tons that are exploitable, the Garaj Bilat iron mine, once exploited, will give a boost to the national economy following the latest instructions from the President of the Republic. According to experts, it is a big investment that can generate up to $16 billion. On top of the oil revenues, this mine will contribute to the creation of job positions for young people, especially in the region, that needs around 3,000 to 5,000 posts. The exploitation of the deposit of Jbilat is a courageous decision. We have waited for this project for long. We expect enormous economic benefits, especially reducing unemployment in Tindouf. The exploitation of Garaj Bilat offers many perspectives, especially in employment, for the unemployed youth of the region. We valorize the efforts deployed by the President of the Republic, thanks to which the exploitation process began. It will bring new projects to the country and consequently provide new job positions in the region. Considered one of the largest iron deposits in the world, the exploitation of Garaj Bilat mine represents a very interesting alternative, the same way as hydrocarbon resources.
A factory specialized in the production of multi-usage paper rolls transforms about 72 tons of raw materials every day and creates wealth and job positions. Manal Ammari tells us more.
About 100 kilometers away from El Jilfa province, this factory is specialized in the production of multi-purpose paper rolls, with a daily processing capacity amounting to 72 tons of raw materials, for a production of up to 244,000 paper units. We transform 72 tons of raw materials as well as 244,000 units of paper per day. Our factory is specialized in manufacturing aluminum foil, cellophane as well as parchment paper, with a production capacity of 350,000 units. Thanks to the removal of administrative obstacles, this facility located in Ain Wassara was able to hire 250 direct jobs. We used to be unemployed, but after the launch of this production unit, we benefited from training, thanks to which we learned to handle the machines. This facility has no less than 150 direct employees and about 50 indirect jobs. We also trained several executives within the holding company in the capital. These investment projects contribute to boost the national economy that aspires to reduce its dependence on hydrocarbons.
Algeria strongly condemned the terrorist attacks that targeted a hydraulic pump station in Suez Canal in Egypt, killing and wounding several members of the Egyptian armed forces, according to a communique issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Following this difficult ordeal, Algeria extends its deepest condolences to the families of the victims, wishing speedy recovery to the injured. Algeria stands in solidarity with the Egyptian government and people, affirming its support for the Egyptian efforts to combat terrorism. That was it for our news edition. Thanks for tuning in to our program. Good night.